Okay, so today I want you to understand the importance of telling your story on LinkedIn. And when we're looking at LinkedIn, LinkedIn is open for 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. So it's a fantastic opportunity for you to really tell your personal brand story. And I'd like to kick off by telling you a story about a client of mine. She was the fun accountant who liked to hold piñata barbecues. Now, no disrespect to anybody in finance in the audience, but being a fun accountant is almost an oxymoron. But she worked for one of the big four accounting firms in the US, and her team and her were working on a particularly difficult client engagement. It was an audit. The client was brutal. They kept changing deadlines. They were verbally abusive to her team. It was a difficult situation. And when we looked at her personal brand, we actually use a couple of assessments that kind of look at people's brands, both from a self perspective, but also what do other people think of your brand. When we looked at her brand, the kind of words that people used to describe her were the classic words that you would expect of an accountant. Accurate, analytical, thankfully honest. But the number one word that people used to describe her, twice as much as any other word, was fun. So she was working on this particular audit with her team, and they got through and they delivered the audit on time, and she wanted to celebrate. And I challenged her and I said, well, you need to do that in the form of your brand. You need to do it in a fun way. So she decided to have a piñata barbecue. This was at her house on a Sunday afternoon. She invited all the team over. And as the team arrived, each one of them was given a personal piñata with the face of the client on it. And then they all got given wiffle bats. So wiffle bats are baseball bats with holes drilled through them. So when they tried to break open their piñata, they were going like this, but the air going through the bat just didn't give them the strength to break open the piñata on their own. So they had to enroll a couple of their colleagues to help break open each piñata. So as the piñatas broke open, the candy came out, and inside each piñata, she'd put a personal gift that represented a particular skill or strength that individual team member had used. So it was great. She sent me photos. We laughed about it. And then I said to her, you've got to put this on your bio, on your professional bio. And she said, what do you mean? I said, just one line right at the bottom, has been known to hold piñata barbecues. She said, I can't do that. We're big four accounting firm. We're conservative. We don't do that kind of stuff. So we went back and forth for about 4 weeks, and then she finally gave in, and she put it on the bottom of her bio. And about a month later, two of her colleagues in the New York office, she was on the West Coast, two colleagues phoned her up and said, we're pitching for some new business, tech company, West Coast, perfect fit for your skills. And what they have in this particular firm, they've got 126,000 employees around the world, and they've got their own version of LinkedIn, like an internal LinkedIn. And her bio had come up because they'd done keyword searches around particular skills and strengths. And they said, we're going to use you for the pitch, but we need you to take that one line out about piñata barbecues. And I admire her for this. I love her for this. She said, no, that's part of my brand. If we get asked, I'll explain it. So they got called in to pitch for the business because there's no perceived difference between any of the big four accounting firms. They do a survey every year, and basically everybody does exactly the same thing in terms of audit and tax and all those kind of things. So they got called in, they sit down in front of the CEO. First question the CEO asks, so tell me about these piñata barbecues. So she's not quite the honest accountant because she didn't tell them the face of the client was on the piñata, but she told them the rest of the story. Second question, if we were to hire you, would you come to our annual kegerator day? And she said, ooh, what's a kegerator day? So it turned out this tech company shut down for one day a year company picnic. Each department got given a beer keg in the morning, which they had to drink, and then they had to motorize them and race them in the afternoon. And she said, "Oh yeah, my team would love that. They'd be all over it." He goes, "Great, you've got the business." They did not have to do a PowerPoint presentation. They did not have to prove they could do tax or audit. It was her brand, her leadership brand, her team brand, and ultimately the corporate brand that made the difference because she was telling a story. So when you're thinking about your story, and we've heard it yesterday, you're going to hear it a number of times today, it isn't going to be the technical aspects that make a personal brand strong. It's your personality and other aspects of who you are that is going to make you stand out and make you noticeable and make you hired, give business, etc. And the challenge is we have diminishing attention spans. The average adult now will focus for about 20 minutes. And coming from a household with 2 teenagers, I know it's a hell of a lot less the younger you get. Right? So, whether you believe the statistics around we have an attention span less than a goldfish, that's actually a fallacy. It's not a true representation of that survey, but our attention spans are diminishing. So LinkedIn, even with its own data, says you've got between 5 and 10 seconds to make a first impression online. So how are you going to make an impression with your LinkedIn profile to not be sideswiped to the left? Well, we need to get rid of the idea that LinkedIn is just a platform for a resume and a job board. Yeah, LinkedIn generates a lot of revenue that way, absolutely. But people are now using it to build businesses, build thought leadership, build careers. It's not just a place to park your resume, and it's not somewhere that you should just be going every 5 years to update. It should be a platform that you're on every day. And whether you use it for business to business or business to consumer, LinkedIn is recognized as a top lead generation platform for business to business. But regardless of how you use that platform, it's still incredibly relevant to what you do and how you stand out. It's about personality. When you're meeting somebody, people are going to say, can I trust this person? And can I respect them? It's what Amy Cuddy calls warmth and competence. And just because more people own a smartphone now than a toothbrush, it's kind of scary. It isn't just about the technology, it's the human touch that we want as well. But the challenge as well is that the platform encourages us to all sound the same. In fact, LinkedIn's new user interface, which is getting rolled out right now, you can actually just kind of push a button and it will actually create your own summary for you. But the danger with that is that everybody is going to sound the same, and you'll end up having somebody even like Shakespeare sound boring. So what I'd like you to think about for a second is, what is the one word, if you were to describe yourself and capture your personal brand essence, what's the one word that you would use? You've got 5 to 10 seconds to impress the person next to you with that one word. So take a second, we're going to do an experiment. Take 5 seconds, think about your personal brand, and then to the person next to you, share with them what's your one word. Go ahead, go. So just show of hands if you heard from another person the word passionate. Hands up. What about the word creative? Yep, a few show of hands. What about any one of these words? Let's see a show of hands if you had one of these words. Fair number of you. Now, these words are all great. if you're saying this about yourself, these are great. But these are actually the top 10 words or buzzwords that LinkedIn recommends you remove from your profile because they're overused. Okay? I don't necessarily suggest you remove them, but they're not going to differentiate you because everybody else is using them as well. So you need to think about what else can you say. And in looking at thousands of LinkedIn profiles, what I've found is that people are not leveraging the areas of their profile to talk about their personality and to talk about their personal brand. So I'm going to give you 5 solutions for you to use, and you can walk out today and start to use them tomorrow to represent your personal brand better and your personality better on LinkedIn. The first one is keywords or buzzwords. There are 2 sets of words that you would use to describe yourself. One is rational, and one is emotional. So rational are, so if we take the accountant, for example, accurate, analytical, honest. Those are all rational words, rational attributes to describe that person. So that helps. It's within the table stakes. It gets you in the game, it gets you considered, but it doesn't differentiate you because everybody who's a good accountant will say that same thing. But an emotional attribute like fun, you don't need to be fun to be a good accountant. So that starts to differentiate you, and it's the emotional attributes, and you really want to get clear on what are your emotional attributes, are the reasons why somebody's going to hire you, work with you, work for you, etc., or give you business. So when we look at that accountant, her rational words were accurate, analytical, honest. The emotional attribute was fun. The second thing you want to think about is telling your personal brand story. This is a survey done by Career Builder, and Career Builder asked hiring managers why they rejected people based on their social media profiles. We put a lot of stuff on our social media profiles that should not be there, and particularly LinkedIn is not the place to be putting stuff about your drinking habits or anything else. It's a professional network. Yes, you can have personality in there, but it's not Facebook. So if we look at our accountant talked about her top skills. Now, the top skills that we identified in her personal brand were things like team building and motivating. So you need to ensure that your top skills are there because people are going to be searching on that on LinkedIn, and actually you're going to appear higher in searches if you have the top skills that people are looking for versus someone else who says they do exactly what you do. The third thing you want to think about is your professional summary. And this is probably, for me, one of the most underutilized areas for most clients. Most people don't realize that you have up to 2,000 characters, around 300 words in the professional summary to tell your story. So it's prime real estate for your personal brand. And it really is an opportunity for you to say, not just talk about yourself, but who you're doing it for. You know, what is it you do? Who are you doing it for, and why the hell should they care? And you can talk about achievements, you can put in testimonials in there. Now, unfortunately, with the professional summary, you can't format it. It's just, LinkedIn doesn't allow you to do that. But you can do things like capitals, you can use white spaces, you can copy and paste symbols and put them in there. And you can really make that summary stand out and really make a difference in terms of telling your personal brand story. So, for our accountant, she just put there, has been known to hold piñata barbecues. And immediately that stood out and that made a difference, and it got them business. And then the fourth thing you want to think about is visual media. This wasn't Casey yesterday, by the way, but it was. So you can upload visual media into your profile. So you can upload video. You can put in things like PDF documents. LinkedIn owns SlideShare, so you can put slide decks into your profile. And again, it's a most underutilized part of the LinkedIn profile. And it's not just in the summary, but I also recommend you put them into your various experience areas as well. It's a great opportunity, again, for you to stand out and be different with your profile and show more of your personality. Even an intro video, for example. Video is, as we know, is huge. It's only going to get bigger because of our attention spans. We want to watch things instead of read. So, our accountant could have put in a video of the kegerator party, for example. And then the fifth thing is to think about 30 words. So LinkedIn is just going through the process now of changing its user interface on desktop. So it's going to look more like the mobile app. And the challenge, so this is Gary's profile in the old user interface at the top, and then underneath is the new user interface. You can see the difference that it makes. And you need to be very clear about that professional summary now is the first 20 to 30 words. And then after that, there's a link that says see more. So if you're not making it exciting enough for people to read those 20 or 30 words and then click see more, they're just going to keep scrolling. And you've missed an opportunity to get across your personality, your personal brand, and stand out and be different. And then the other thing is also around the header image. As you can see, when it's switching to the new user interface, the header image doesn't transfer across. So you need to be very conscious of, and I would suggest this, if you have the new user interface, we're sitting around 50% of users at LinkedIn now have the new user interface. But I would suggest you go check your profile and see if you do have it. And if you do, then you need to go through everything and ensure that it's looking right under the new look. Otherwise, you're missing opportunities, or people are not going to see your brand in a full picture. So our accountant could have put the top header image could have been something like the piñata party or the barbecue. Again, to make it stand out, you can add a little bit of personality in there without it appearing unprofessional. So those are the 5 things that you want to think about with regards to your profile and how you can stand out and start to add your personality more to your personal brand profile and your LinkedIn profile. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on this platform to build your personal brand. In fact, 5 minutes a day is more than enough. The average user on LinkedIn is on there for less than 30 minutes a month. So it doesn't take a lot for you to start to raise your profile and get noticed more on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn rewards you for being interesting. And the way that you can be interesting is a number of ways. You can curate other people's content, share interesting articles, share information. You can connect with new people. And please, if you're going to connect with new people, personalize the invitation. If you click the connect button anywhere else except on somebody's profile, it will just automatically send a generic invite. And you've missed an opportunity to put your personality into the invite to connect with somebody and give them a reason why you want to connect with them. So always connect with somebody from their profile. Click the connect button, and then you can personalize the invitation. And then you want to look at who can you collaborate with, who are other people that you can do business with, to build your brand and build your business or build your career. And then start to think about creating your own content. Thought leadership, publishing articles. The publishing on LinkedIn under the Pulse thing is an incredible opportunity, again, for you to not just write, but you can embed video, you can embed images. Again, you can add more of your personality into your profile and the reasons why people want to connect with you. So it's really up to you to do this. Nobody else is going to do it for you. It's up to you to own the definition of who you are. Now, I'm a big fan of rewarding action. And everybody here has taken action by coming to Haste and Hustle. So what I'd like to do is make a very special Haste and Hustle offer. I don't normally do this. But I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to connect with me, either via LinkedIn or email. And I will take the time to go through your profile and give you the feedback as to where I think you could add more of your personality and your personal brand into your profile. Thank you. And if you do connect with me, make sure you personalize the invite. Tell me it's Haste and Hustle. Otherwise, I might ignore you. But tell me what your piñata story is. How are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to stand out? Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much.